Salutations, Squadius Famius, and welcome to another video from the Summer of Sickness. Summer of Sickness is an event I decided to do in July where I upload a video every single day, then decided that that was too much, so it's 3 times a week instead. If this is the first you're hearing of it, then I have left a little handy card in the corner, I still don't know which end it is in, of the entire Summer of Sickness playlist thus far. So if you're interested in that and you just want to jump into it, then yeah, card in the corner, it's probably gone by now. So today I want to talk to you about some of my monthly favorites. Basically, it's just an entire video of inspiration sources that I've been looking to recently. I did one of these last month, like fashion inspo during lockdown, and then I thought, damn son, we can milk this concept, so here we are. Personally, I think now that lockdown has lifted in the UK more or less, the fashion world is starting to pick up a little bit. Everybody is slowly transitioning out of the lockdown blues. Today's video isn't going to be like super mental, it's just going to be a little bit casual and laid back. So we're going to be talking about some Instagram pages that I've been feeling recently, some YouTubers that may interest you. So without further ado, let's jump into the Instagram pages that I've been feeling recently. So the first Instagram page that I want to talk about is Hidden NY. This is a little low-key Instagram page with, you know, only like 288,000 followers on it that you might not have heard of. But in all seriousness, this is an Instagram page that I've really been hooked on. I don't really know how to describe it. I wouldn't really call it an archive page. I mean, there is a lot of that in this, but it also dabbles in sneaker culture, art, customs, interesting general pictures, and literally whatever else Hidden NY decides to put on their page. It's more or less like a mood board, but there's more to it, if that makes sense. It's definitely a page worth following, not just for the feed, but for their Instagram stories as well. It just seems to be very active. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of pictures to take from and to put into your own mood boards. I think it's very on trend. I think their Instagram bio sums them up perfectly, past, present, and future. This page definitely ticks all of those boxes. And in my personal opinion, a very fancy boy page, which I have been loving recently. So Hidden NY is the first one I want to share with you. The second page I want to share with you is A Archive. This is a page I think I've mentioned in the past, but this is definitely one of those pages that I draw a lot of inspiration from, especially when looking at each individual piece on the feed. As the name suggests, there are a lot of archive pieces on here. For anyone wanting to get into luxury fashion or archive fashion, this is definitely a good jumping off point because there are so many different designers featured on this page, so you can find out the names of designers and fashion houses that pique your interest. It's also a really good place to get inspiration for outfit building. Some of these pieces you can sit there and think to yourself, okay, I really like that piece. Don't know why I'm Professor Xavier here, but okay, I really like that piece, but that piece might not necessarily be obtainable, so why not find something similar? You see where the trail of thought can end up here. Luckily for us as well, A Archive is also a store. Most of these pieces that you see on the feed will be for sale, so you might not even have to go, oh, I just want to buy something similar. No, just buy the exact piece that you want, big man. I know that A Archive isn't the only archive page which sells pieces, but I thought this one was very notable just because of the presentation of the feed. I love how simplistic it is. There's not a lot of noise. It's literally just about the pieces, so it does definitely cut out a lot of the noise, and that's something I definitely appreciate when it comes to pages that showcase pieces. The next page that has really piqued my interest recently is Wicked Violence. Wicked Violence is a page or a one-man designer who hand paints one-of-one pieces, and I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but like one-of-one designers have really been coming up recently, and I personally love the creativity and character that each of these designers bring to the table. Wicked Violence stands out to me especially more so because of the presentation of his feed. I think he's really done it in a creative way. As of right now, the feed has been organized from shirt, outfit picture, trousers, shirt, outfit picture, trousers, and so on and so on. Also, when you click on one of these pictures, it starts off with just a plain white background, but then it goes into this animated waviness, which I think is a really nice subtle touch, just to give a little bit more character into the pictures. And it's just that little bit of detail which keeps my attention even more. But the actual pieces themselves, I think, are so mad. One-of-one pieces definitely have a lot more detail than something that you find mass produced. It's just a lot more experimental. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more freedom involved. Each piece just looks like a lot of time and attention went into them, and that has to have your respect. Like, come on, this page is a madness. The next page I want to talk about is a Bulgarian fashion brand called Bog Imalingrad. I probably butchered that, but I'm really feeling the aesthetics of this brand. It really screams Soviet vibes. If Gosha Rubchinsky evolved his Soviet style and really played up the themes a little bit more, then I think it would be more like this. I love how this brand kind of infuses the Gothic and Soviet aesthetic and meshes them up into one. This brand recently made an incense chamber and it just looks so mad. Again, the creativity is through the roof with this one. The pieces definitely touch on a punk aesthetic as well, which I really quite like. There's a lot of sharp edges used, tongue-in-cheek humor, and just a general sense of awesomeness. Honestly, this is a brand that has really caught my attention and I look forward to what they have in store in the future. Not sponsored. And the last Instagram page that I want to talk about is T-Shirts Archives. Now, if you know me, then you know that I am a massive fan of vintage T-shirts. The actual page itself is just a massive collection of T-shirts, all nicely presented in minimal white background format. These T-shirts aren't exclusive to like vintage T-shirts either. They like to showcase whatever creative T-shirt they happen to stumble across, and I think that makes this page even more dynamic. So dynamic, so creative. Especially if you're looking into making your own T-shirts, this is a valuable resource. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But a lot of inspiration can be gained from this page. There's so much to look at, and it's just something that I thought was worth sharing. So for the next section, I want to talk about some fashion YouTubers or fashion related YouTubers that I found to be very interesting recently. So for the first one I want to talk about is Bliss Foster. I would say that there is a new wave of fashion YouTubers emerging. Fashion YouTubers who are more interested in the inner workings of fashion. Instead of talking about latest pickups and how to style A, B, and C, it's more about the actual discussion of what's going on inside fashion. For example, there's more focus on the actual designers inside of fashion and understanding designers and their concepts. I'm not really doing it justice because I'm not going to sit here and pretend I understand every single thing that Bliss is talking about, but it's definitely a good starting point if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of the fashion industry, educate yourself on subjects, and just gain a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on in the scene. I mentioned the fashion archives in my last inspo video, so I'm just adding Bliss Foster to the list as someone I found along the way. The next YouTube page I want to talk about, I'm a little bit biased towards it because I know them, we're friends, woo, name dropping, 99 Vintage, and they seem to be doing the absolute most. They're running their store in Winchester, they're running their Instagram page alongside it, building that social media presence, and on top of all that, they've got the YouTube channel, and I think it's very interesting to see the inner workings of a vintage store. You get to see like the day in the life activities of Harry and Jack as they're running their store. You see a lot of people coming into the store, trading, selling, buying, and it's just a very interesting thing to see from a cultural point of view. And at the same time, the videos are very entertaining. Everyone's gonna make the comparison of 99 Vintage is like the UK round 2. I wouldn't say that that comparison is necessarily a bad thing. Honestly, their YouTube videos are very entertaining to watch. They're very likable guys, so check out 99 Vintage. The next YouTuber I want to talk about is Daniel Simmons. Now, Daniel Simmons is a fashion YouTuber that has been putting out consistent quality content for years now, and I think now more than ever Daniel has really come into his element. I'm a big massive fan of his style. It's very clean, somewhat minimal at times, but from a stylistic point of view, it's all very well put together. Honestly, it will only take you one of his videos to get yourself hooked, so I highly recommend Daniel Simmons' YouTube channel. The next YouTube channel I want to talk about is Paul Cantu. Now, Paul Cantu is undeniably the thrift god. Enough said, no explanation is needed, but why the YouTube channel, big man? I'll tell you why. Paul Cantu pretty much popularized trip to the thrift, and the stuff that he finds at the thrift stores is absolutely insane. It puts literally all of my trip to the thrifts combined to shame. He finds the craziest pieces, and it's not just limited to like clothing. He also picks up plushies, toys, anything the vintage community will remotely like, he's on it. But his talents don't just stop at the thrift store. He also does some customization, some DIYs. Honestly, Paul Cantu is an underrated artist. He has a lot of talent in paints, creativity, high energy and entertaining. Check out Paul Cantu's YouTube channel. And last but certainly not least is a very educational resource, not necessarily related directly to fashion, but negative feedback. So negative feedback is primarily a photography channel. He has YouTube videos talking about disposable cameras, 35mm films, shooting with thrift store cameras, how to shoot fashion editorials. So I included this in my monthly inspiration because fashion is 60% photography. We primarily see fashion through the eyes of the camera, not to deep it that much, but technically without photography, fashion would not be able to convey its expressions. And I think you can apply photography to a lot more than just fashion. It's a very interesting subject to dive into. So negative feedback is definitely one of my favorite photography channels, just because I think it's somewhat latched onto the fashion industry. Like it kind of has that aesthetic to it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking into things, but negative feedback is a very interesting and inspirational channel to look into. And that was my July fashion inspiration video. I hope you stumbled across some interesting Instagram pages and YouTube channels you might not have heard of before or heard of and might want to jump back into. Also, I want this to be a little bit of a discussion, so let me know in the comment section down below what Instagram pages and YouTube channels have you been feeding recently. Like, come on, let's get like a little resource going in the comment section. Let's get that algorithm going low key, like without anyone noticing that. That's what I'm trying to do. What? If you want to support me and the channel, then just press the little subscribe button and that bell notification if you want to get notified when I upload a new video. Thank you guys for watching my video. You guys are the best. Bye.